Hey guys, Jason here for Chart Guys. One of the things that we do in the Chart Guys community is we do real-time technical analysis. So as things are developing and trading, people can ask us questions about trade setups. Most of the time that comes in the form of, should I take an entry here? What do you think of taking profits here? And we never tell someone to buy or sell something. We assess the situation using technical analysis, and we provide what we believe the most likely outcome is. So what I'm going to do today is walk through a few trade examples using technical analysis basically as it happened. We're going to use the chart replay feature again. So we're looking at a historical chart here, and we're going to look at LINKUSD first. And the question that was posed to us during one of our calls this afternoon was, is this a good time to take profits? Again, a common question. So what we have to do when we get that question is understand the context of the trade. What's your entry? What's your goal? What's your time frame? All of those things are important. So our friend, we'll call him G, had a 16.4 entry in LINKUSD and was looking for an exit. So the first thing we need to do, of course, is to look at the context. Where are we? Well, we're pretty overbought in the hourly time frame. We had a little bit of a downturn, but we can see that the bulls are applying a lot of pressure. So we are hyper extended to the upside, and it is not incredibly likely that we're going to continue at that sort of pace. So we're always looking for some sort of a justification for a pullback. Pullbacks are healthy in markets. Those are the best entry opportunities that we have. So we're looking for profit taking at highs, and we're looking for pullbacks for entries. Hourly time frame, we're looking for a bit of a pullback. We go to the 15-minute time frame, and this is where our wedge starts to pop out. We're getting 15-minute higher lows. We had our last entry, we'll call it probably somewhere in here, and then we got pretty dicey, came back down to test that level, but that is a healthy pullback. We get a 15-minute higher low. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove that entry indicator, and I'm going to go plug in this 15-minute higher low indicator right there, 1640. We'll call that perfect entry, even though it's probably back here. 5-minute time frame. Now we've looked at this on the 15, and we can see the range between 17 and 1582 is much larger than the 1721 to 1640. So we're getting a bit of a tightening range. Now what we have to do in that case is determine, is this a legitimate ascending wedge? I like this on the 2-minute time frame. So we went back here. We did a little bit of explanation about what the heck a ascending triangle is and what it means. We draw it in. We plug these two supports together. We see a little bit of correlation here. We're confident in our support. We're confident in our resistance time frame. And this is about where we're asking this question. So the first thing that we say, if you are happy in your position, you are profitable, you can always chop and take partial profits. Sell half of your position against resistance, set your break-even stop loss for the other half and let it ride. No matter what happens, you're going to be profitable. And that is a beautiful way to be psychologically content with your trade, knowing that you're going to be profitable even if you see a pullback. So here we are, 2-minute time frame. We're waiting for this chart to develop. We've gone through our assessment, and our friend G is still holding, waiting for something to happen. So again, let's chop this. We're grinding resistance. We know that we're looking for an hourly pullback. We've got this happening over here. We're looking for an hourly pullback. And guess what? Anything above this level here, I'm going to zoom in here to make it a little bit more useful for you guys. Anything above 1582 is going to give us an hourly higher low. Beautiful. Go to the 15-minute time frame. Anything above 1640 is going to maintain a 15-minute uptrend. And we're looking good on both time frames. 2-minute time frame, this is where we see that ascending wedge. This is generally a bearish reversal pattern. So the most likely outcome in this situation is what? It is going to be grinding until the terminal point of our pattern, and then we're going to look for a bear break. So let's chop around in here. It's going to look something like this maybe, and then we're going to come down, and then ultimately we're going to be looking for a test, a higher low over 1640. Now we can break a bear pattern and see a higher low over 1640 on the 15-minute time frame. That is just fine. That is a-okay. It's going to be a loss of the 5-minute trend at this point, but in the 15-minute time frame, very healthy. So that's what we're looking for. So when we're asked, should we take profits in the area of a resistance when we're looking for hourly higher lows and we're overextended in the hourly time frame? Absolutely a good idea from a technical perspective. See what I did there? So what we're doing is we're going to watch this 2-minute time frame. As we're looking at other indicators during the call, we're watching this develop. And you know what? We hit 1730, and now we're going to look for 2-minute trend changes. We've had a solid 2-minute trend all the way up here. We can take profits at resistance, or we could take profits on the loss of 1695. We see that, and I believe our friend G was trading on Binance, so the chart looked a little bit different, and they took profits around 1712 or so. Either way, we see this ascending wedge. We hit our resistance in the area of resistance. We actually got much closer to it on the 2-minute time frame over on the Binance chart, and I'll load that up over here. So this is what it looked at Binance. We hit it perfectly, and then we get that pullback. The reason I'm not using Binance is because the chart replay feature doesn't seem to function on that exchange on TradingView. So we continue, and what do you know? We come down to test our support. We fall through that support. We back test, and we see further rejection and consolidation. I'll just keep chirping away here. We can see how we fall down. We lose our 5-minute supports. We lose our 15-minute supports. And what are we looking for on the pullback at this hourly time frame? We are looking for, ideally, hourly higher lows. We lose 1582, but it doesn't matter too much because we bounce right back. Let's go back to the 2-minute time frame. Didn't mean to skip so much information. But there's that drop all the way down to 1575, and then we see a little bit of a bounce. This was all political instability related, I'm assuming, given today's crazy activities. But what a beautiful trade setup. A great execution of understanding what our hourly time frames intend, the fact that they are extended to the upside. We're looking for hourly higher lows. We're expecting pullbacks. We see it represented beautifully in this ascending triangle pattern, which again is a generally bearish pattern, but that bearishness is accepted, it's expected, and welcome, because we're looking for those hourly higher lows. So beautiful way to visualize what the market's doing. Beautiful profit-taking opportunity from a really nice entry over here at 1640, and a really nice execution of a sound trade plan. So that was a nice one on LINKUSD, and that was really fun to watch in real time. And again, that's what we do at Chart Guys. We watch this stuff in real time. So if you're trading something and you want a second opinion on a technical analysis setup, you can ask that question. And we also monitor this. So we're watching LINKUSD, we're trading it with you, and we're taking a look and giving each other feedback. That's the beautiful part of the Chart Guys community. All right, we're going to do one more walkthrough. I'm looking at CGC. This was a lot of fun to trade, and it is a lot of fun to trade. If you're interested in investing or trading marijuana stocks, we do have a really active, fantastic sub-community in the Chart Guys of individuals who are absolute masterminds with this stuff. CGC, beautiful trades today. So the MJ sector overall had a very, very strong day due to the gap up due to political outcomes in the United States, where MJ favored legislation is expected to roll on through for the next couple of years, which is great for the MJ industry. So CGC, being part of that, benefited with the gap up open. We're going to take a look at the 2-minute time frame, and we're going to assess it as we saw it today. Let's start over here with the 2-minute time frame. So the bell rings. What are we expecting? Gap up open, CGC. I'm looking for a 5-minute oversold bounce. That's the sort of thing that CGC likes to do. It likes to see profit taking, and on a gap up, I'm expecting profit taking. So right away, I'm looking for a quick 5-minute oversold bounce that I can get my dirty paws onto. Do I see it? Nope, I don't. 2-minute time frame, we see a dip, and we see the bulls pour on the pressure, and I'm thinking to myself, well, so much for that trade plan. We'll have to see what develops after this. We've already got a low. We get a little bit of a high. So we have 31.83, I think, is our high that we hit. And then our low is 29.35. So we'll go and mark those two ranges out. Always nice to know what your extremes are during the day. And we let the 2-minute time frame sort of develop. It starts to look a little bit wedge-like up here. We just went over wedges in the last little trade review. And if we look at the 1-minute time frame, it doesn't quite look wedgy. But if you sink your teeth into it on the 15-second time frame, it actually does. So we can look right there, and we can draw it right over here. Let's see what fits the best. Something like that. We can see that wedge, we get that bear break, and then we get that follow through. Absolutely beautiful. I love how these patterns work on multiple time frames. Charts are fractal. Anything that you use from a technical perspective, you can apply to all time frames. So that's what makes this stuff really fascinating for me. I kind of like it, in case you haven't noticed. 2-minute time frame, 15-second ascending wedge bear break. Now we are seeing a little bit of a dump. Volume isn't really impressive, and we do have this support at 29.35. So what we're going to do is look for a higher low over that time frame. I don't think we have enough room to get oversold. We're at 41.49 on the 2-minute time frame, and I think we get into the low 30s, but I don't think we break it on this attempt. I think we broke that later. So here we are coming down. We see a little hesitation. The volume isn't really remarkable, but we do see a pretty good bounce. So we did manage to get an entry here. We are scaling in. We scale in the area of 29.72, and we're giving ourselves a little bit of room. So we know we can still go to the downside. We can see another 2-minute candlestick, and we may take another entry here at 29.35. And if we do reach that point, we have the 29.35 area of support, and by that time, we almost certainly would be oversold in the 2-minute time frame, which adds a little bit of confidence for the expectation of a bounce. Even if we broke 29.35, if we don't see a ton of follow through, that just adds even more confidence to your bounce. And that's why scaling in is beautiful. So we start to get our little bit of a bounce, and I have to admit, I made a little bit of an error on this one. I entered my position and then I accidentally exited my position about 5 seconds later, setting up my stops. And by that time, I was so frazzled and annoyed with myself that I just stayed out of the trade. My flow was gone, so I just watched the trade continue without me. But I was confident and happy with the fact that I was correct in my entry. So we see this ride all the way up. What do we have for resistance? 31.83, and this is the part that I liked the most, and it was the most frustrating part for me, was the fact that we could have just ridden up these 1-minute higher lows, these 2-minute higher lows, and the market would have made all of the perfect decisions for us. Our target, 31.83. If you didn't take it on this one, you're going to be hopefully walking up your stops, taking these 2-minute higher lows, and getting stopped out with a beautiful trade right there. Overall, pretty textbook. Nice scale. I would have only got one of my entries on this, but it would have been a perfect trade, and it would have taken me from the 29.78s to, well, let's call it 31.31. So pretty nice trade. Now, let's see what happens next. At this point, when I'm trading, I'm waiting for another nice pattern to set up. What am I expecting? Well, we can go to the 5-minute time frame. We got a pretty wide range here. We could look for a 5-minute equilibrium, or we could look for a 15-minute equilibrium. The most likely outcome is going to be 5-minute higher low over top of this little friend way over here, 29.63. Go back to our 2-minute time frame, and we watch this develop. We go see this dump all the way down to 31, and I believe this was the 31 level here. Yep. So we get a little bit of a support, but unfortunately, it doesn't hold too much. We can see it grind. We can see it grind, more or less just going sideways. And when it finally buckles, we see some volume come in, and we drop back down. So we know that we have 29.63. We've lost our 31 area of support. That has been an area of support before, likely going to be an area of resistance later on in the day. We continue along. We're watching our RSI, and at this time, I'm looking at this. I'm saying 39.59 on the RSI. If we continue to drop much more, I'm going to be looking for a 15-minute higher low over that 29.63 level. See a little bit of a 1-minute bear flag. We continue on down, and we start approaching oversold conditions. We are currently at 27.71. So at this point, I'm starting to scale in a little bit again. I even think I drew up some supports levels. Probably this guy I'm watching, 30.02. And I think to myself, you know what? At 30.02, we're so close to the psychological level of 30. Remember, 31 just came into play up here. And because we've gapped up, we don't have as much price history to act as our price action support levels, so we can place more reliance on psychological levels. Watching this action against 30. Now, I think to myself, all right, if I lose 30, I want to see what sort of flush follows that. If we don't see any flush, that means the bulls are more likely to be able to respond to a break and take the price in another direction. We're already oversold. We know that. We know the bears are tired, and we know we're looking for a 15-minute higher low. All of those things combined give me a little bit of interest in that upside. So we break 30.02. We get a 2-minute inside bar. No follow through on that. I'm in it. I'm ready to go, and I'm excited. What happens next? We get ourselves a nice pop. Now, what gets really interesting as well is you can zoom in on the 15-second time frame, which I love to watch, and you can see the difference in the price action that occurs here. Here's our 2-minute downtrend. We get to our 29.98, and we sort of hang out here. We start going sideways. We set a resistance at 30.10, so we can go in and pop that right there, 30.10. We have a double bottom at 29.98, 29.99. Bull volume comes in. We break 30.10. We take off. So that's what the bulls are watching for. And if you're like me and you love getting right into the nitty gritties of these charts, I like to watch the 15-second a lot. Don't necessarily always trade off of it, but when I see a 2-minute inside bar in an area where I'm looking for psychological support and I'm expecting a 15-minute high or low, it's just a perfect setup. Nice combination of things. So we are in our trade. At this point, I am looking for a resistance at 31. That's my target. I ride the price up. And I'm going and I'm going and I'm starting to use my 2-minute higher lows. And I have to admit again, I made a mistake on this one. I set my stops kind of funny and I ended up exiting right below what I thought was going to be the 31, but it worked out pretty well because I was going to end up exiting over here anyway with the loss of 2-minute higher lows. So that worked out. I would have just been clipped out. So another really nice trade overall. Now, there is one more trade that we managed to get, or at least I did. I was watching this on the 2-minute time frame, and I think I was on a call at the time. And I'm going to remove my drawings because it does play into something that by now I hope you can start to recognize as being a particularly beneficial pattern. You notice the range between this and this, this and this, and this and this. It starts to look a little bit wedge-like. I hope you can see that. So we can go to the 2-minute time frame, and I'm looking at that, and I'm like, you know what? It's kind of wedgy. And I have to admit, I wasn't necessarily bearish on this to begin with, because my chart was in this formation. I was zoomed right in, and I was looking at this area. I'm saying, you know what? This is almost bull flag, but it doesn't look quite right. We got a little bit of a double top, no follow through in that break. I zoom out, I'm like, okay, we got a wedge. So I posted that wedge in our little community group. We ended up seeing a break. Got a nice little short against this resistance. Come down. My target was 30.50, which is right there, but we didn't get it. As soon as we see the bull volume come in, I got a little freaked out. Took my profits on that one. Managed to get out around 30.72. So another really nice trade, nice setup, a little bit of late recognition for me, but I hope you can see multiple uses of the wedge in today's videos. And look at that nice little area of resistance again. We just peek over it, and then we come back down. Overall, we get some pretty good follow through on that little wedge and go sideways for the duration of the day. At this point, there was too much geopolitical instability for me, and I just stopped trading entirely. But we got a few nice trades on CGC. And I hope that this analysis was useful for you. I really like doing these videos, so if they're useful, let me know. If you have any questions, happy to answer. Remember, this is what we do all day, every day in Chart Guys. We're trading like this. We're talking about this. I'm sharing setups that I see like this. And I'm watching a lot of tickers. I'm not trading all of those tickers. And if you want an unbiased opinion on your trade, you can post a ticker in the Chart Guys. We'll do an analysis like this in real time. Tell you what we think. And then you can make decisions on your own, just like our buddy G did on his LinkedIn trade. LinkedUSD. Anyway, that's it for me today, guys. I am out of words, and I'm going to get ready for tomorrow. Thanks for watching, and have a good day.